Guide for the goddess of the Weaver of Faith. Neith is a very interesting tutorial god that Smite gives you at the beginning of the game. Unlike majority of the other hunters in the game, she relies more on her abilities than actual basic attacks. Majority of the time, there'll be gods like Apollo or Ho-Yi who, actually no, Rama is probably the best example I can give, who specifically uses majority of the time has to use his basic attacks to do damage. His ultimate is one of the few exceptions to his kit, but still. Regardless, this is Neith Guide. Neith is a very interesting hunter. I'm going to start off, in each of these guys, I'm going to level up to level 4 so I can go over all the abilities. Okay? So to start things off, I think the first thing that should get touched upon when talking about Neith is a passive. The Broken Weave. A Broken Weave appears at the last location that each enemy god dies. Not your teammates, only enemy gods. Okay? So that's these two and that guy right there. That Ra right there. Okay, these two Odins and that Ra. They die, they leave a weave. A weave. What does a weave look like? A weave, to show the example, I'm going to go and kill that Ra. Let me just buy some items to kill him real quick. Do not buy these items in any order, I'm just doing it to kill the Ra. Ra, sorry. So come here, Ra. Let's... There, he actually doesn't show. Okay, it does, but that's not visible, so let's bring him over here. Come here, buddy. Okay, so that's what it looks like. It looks like that white little circle thing right here. Okay? So, what does this weave do? Okay, it's just there, it looks nice and pretty. It lasts for 1 minute, okay? But what does it do? So, what this weave does is, it augments her 1 and 2, her first ability and her second ability, to do additional effects. So, the first one, the first example is her 1, which is Spirit Arrow. How Spirit Arrow works is, so like a basic attack is just a straight line and stops at the first god hit. Like it doesn't go past him, I mean, I can't hit that Odin if this was in distance. I couldn't hit that Odin if I wanted to. Spirit Arrow is a straight line that goes through the god or minions, goes through gods and minions, and then just goes in a straight line and does damage. When there is a weave on the ground, if you were to aim the arrow at the weave, let me get Ra over here. I know my 3 creates a weave, but I'm showing this off first. Where's this? Wow. What the hell are you doing, Ra? Give me 1 moment. Why are you being a jerk? Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on with Ra. Okay, there we go. Now he's not being stupid. So, putting a weave down. See the weave? If I shoot my spirit arrow at the weave, it will detonate that. You see the little circle that goes around the weave? This disappears if I don't hit the weave with the arrow. As you can see, there's no indicator there. When I hit the weave with the arrow, however damage this arrow does, so this is 220, anyone standing within this circle here, anyone within the circle, will also take 220 damage. You can get hit by both the arrow and the circle, and take 440 damage in total because of that. As you see, he took both shots. I'll go quickly sell the items that way you can see it better. Actually, I'm going to D-level 2. Boop. 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 I just need some penetration. Assy. Talus. I think one of these. Not a big deal. That's switching teams, so. And let me get to level 6. Okay, so level 6. This is doing true damage. Let me check. 49 here. This is doing true damage. Shoot. Maybe if I sell this, this might be doing true damage. Yeah, this is doing true damage. Okay. So this is doing true damage right now. So this will do 220 damage. 220 damage, as you can see. So, actually I'm going to get some cooldown too, that way I can spam these abilities a bit more. Boom, boom, boom. There. Okay. So, 220 damage. Simple enough. So, I can bring Lava over here to make a weave, but I'm just going to skip her second ability real quick and talk about her third ability. Neith does a backflip in the air, and anyone in front of this cone here will take damage, 80 to 240, and will be slowed for 25% of their movement speed. So if they're moving at 400% movement speed, for 2.5 seconds, they will be put to a 300 movement speed. So backflip. But there's an interesting thing about the backflip. The backflip also creates a weave. So this weave here will stay until you backflip again. This weave is special, unlike the other weaves placed by Ra or killing an enemy god. Those weaves will stay until 1 minute. The backflip weave will disappear if you backflip again. So the reason this is that way you can't stack weaves next to each other. So that way I don't have a weave, a weave, a weave, and just combo into it. Because I'll show you right now. I'll bring Ra over here. Just kill him. Come here, buddy. Okay, notice how there's two weaves here. These will both detonate if the spirit arrow goes past it. That's the reason why you can't have multiple weaves from the 3. Because it's to stop the exploit. So, going back, that's what the 3 does. The 3 just makes the weaves, and you can shoot it anytime you want. Now going back to the 1 and the 2 now. So, with the weave active, I'm just going to show a visual example. If I were to shoot both Odin and the weave, this should do 440 damage. 220 and 220. 220, 220, as you saw, they both came up. Let me back up again. Even though I don't hit Odin with the 1, if I hit the detonation, he will take 220 damage. The detonation counts as its own source. Let me quickly get cooldowns. Okay. So that's the 1. The 1's very simple. Anyone affected by the 1 will be rooted in place for 1.2 to 2 seconds. So you'll see from Ra here. Come here, buddy. He is rooted in place. He cannot move, as you can see on the little bottom thing. The little weave stuck to him on the ground. He was stuck. He's moving right now to me. He's now stuck. He can't move. So that's how the ability works. The 2. The 2 is a very interesting move. The 2 lets you... the 2 is a self-heal. What it does is it's a ground targeter. You can push it out as far as 55 units. And what it does is it will heal you and do damage to the opponent. So I'm going to take some damage here. I should sell these. Quick. Taking some damage. Actually, I'll take this. Okay. So what it does is my health is at 583 right now. 85. And I'll wait till it gets to 600 and then I'm going to use my 2. What the 2 should do is heal me for 60 health. So I should be at 660, 662 because I went up to 2. So it's 60 health at rank 1. And it's increased for each one. The max amount of minions you can heal off of is 2. You can hit 6 minions with it, but all you are going to get is 3. I'll show the example over here because there's minions over here. That's Road Fury. There's minions. Backflip the style. Oh, that's Fountain. Oh well. Actually, no, I have to take some damage. But to show, I can hit all 6 of these. Or 5 in that case, but you can hit all 6. You can hit as many as you want in the area. It will only heal you for up to 3. So the max this will heal with no weave and I'm going to get to this why I said no weave there, but the max this can do is 60, then 105, 150, 150 plus 2, so this is 205, and then 80 plus 80 is 160, so 240. So that's how it works. Each one goes up by 35, technically speaking. Because this will actually just go up by 15, 15, 15, 15, so each will go up by 45, my bad. So that's how it works. The weave heal, as you can see here. So what does that mean? So let's say, for example, I have a weave here. No minions or anything like that here. I can use my 2 to heal back my health if there's a weave there. So if there's a weave there, I will heal for 40. As it says, any broken weaves in the area are removed, healing Neith an additional amount. So if there are 4 weaves here, 4 weaves all right here, no minions, and I were to use the heal, I would get 160. This can be done multiple times with multiple broken weaves. It's not just one, and there's no limit to it. But it's hard to get majority of the weaves together like that because of the fact that you need to kill gods, and you can only have one of your backflips weaves on the field at one time. What you can do with this ability is with minion waves, if you have a weave, actually best way I could show it is right here. I'm gonna backflip right here. If you have a weave here, you want to get, and if you're low on health, you can put your heal with the weave and the minions, and you'll be healed with the minions and the weave. So that was 2 minions right there and the weave. I would get 40 and then plus another 40 on top of that, so I would get 80 in total. Another interesting bit to note is if there's a weave, let's say weave here. Same thing, weave here. Okay, and I don't want to use that weave because I want to use it later for a 1 or a 2. I can put it on the very outskirts of the circle so I can actually hit the minion wave with it without having to hit the weave. Though majority of the time for wave clearing you will use your 1. Your 2 is not normally used in wave clearing, it's normally used to debuff the enemy hunter. The 3, as I said before, it's a backflip, it's a slow, there's not much else to it. The ultimate, World Weaver, it's called, right? World Weaver. World Weaver, what it does is, this is difficult to show on the training map, but what it does is, I have vision of this wall right now, because of the fact that he's a training bot. But I don't have vision, best way to do it is these Odins. I don't have vision on these Odins around this wall here because he's not in my line of sight, okay? However, if an ally has vision, or if anyone else has vision, so long as you see him, actually the best way I can do it with is with wards. Wards, okay? Wards provide vision. That's shown in the Conquest Guide. I will go over that. But if I put a ward here, and so I have vision on this Odin now, I can shoot him through the wall with World Weaver. What World Weaver does is, anywhere on the map, if you're playing Conquest and you're on the long lane, and they're all the way on the short lane side of the Conquest, so it'll take about maybe 20, we'll say about 40 seconds to get there from one side of the map to the other. You can still aim at them and shoot them with the World Weaver as long as you have vision on them. Vision includes wards, your teammates, and your minions. Anything they see, you see on your map. This will the best way to show this again is via ward. So he's over here, I don't see him, but the ward sees him, so he's on the map. So I will have vision on him. I can aim my ultimate at him and shoot it, and he will take damage. How this ability works is the longer you hold it, there's a set charge on the ability. What do I mean by this? So if I were to do it, if I were to fully charge this will do 230 damage. So notice he takes 230 damage. If I were to do this quickly, before she gets into position and shoot, it does less damage. How it works is it takes, I believe it takes 2 seconds for the charge to get into stance. 1, 2, 3. No, it takes 3 seconds. How it works, this is similar to Ymir's ultimate, and I'll go into that when I cover the Ymir guide. Ymir's ability, how it works is, for how long you stay in and shoot, so let's say for example I stay in for 1 second, because the charge is a 3-second duration, I will do 33% damage. So let's say, for example, if this were to do 300 damage, and I would, instead of, if this was to do 300 damage, and so if I hold in, if I do the full charge and hit this guy, and do 300 damage to him, okay, that's how much it'll do at full charge. If I were to do 1 second in the charge, because 1 second, because it normally takes 3 seconds for the full charge to go off, it will be 1 divided by 3, which is 33%. So if I were to hold in here with 1 second, like going into position in 1 second, I will do 100 damage. Okay? In this aspect, if I were to go, charge in for, keep charge for 1.5 seconds, I will do about 115 damage. That's how that works. It's a percentage based on how long you are in the charge animation, up to 3 seconds, and then anything past 3 seconds is the cap of the max damage, which is 230, 295, 360, etc. But how it works is, for each second I'm in, what it does is it divides it by 3 until it gets to 1. So if I'm at 1 second, and if I do it for 1 second, oh, one disappeared. But for 1 second, it will do 1/3 the damage. For 2 seconds, 2/3 the damage. For 1.5 seconds, 1/2 the damage, because 1.5 over 3 is 50%, or 1/2. So that's how that works. Other than that, the reason you will want to do this, sometimes shoot faster. Let's say, even if the that max health or whatever is just for the stun. The stun is constant no matter how much damage you put into, how much time you put into it. As you can see, he will still be stunned for the 1.5 seconds, and so is that guy. And that's how that works. The backflip I have shown already, the 2 I have shown, the 1 I have shown. I will now go over. It comes down to leveling up Neith's abilities. So, majority of the time, you would at level 1 you want to take your 1 first. However, there's some things I want to note before you put a point into your level 1. As a reminder, I just want to make this clear, this is for Conquest only, okay? If you're doing Joust or anything like that, I suggest taking the level 3 and level 5 more seriously than level 1 to 4. Anyway, so how it works is, at level 1, you want to take your Spear Arrow first, unless, however, actually, at level 1 you want to take your Spear Arrow first, however, do not put a point in it right away. The reason being is because of the fact that, say for example, you go to your lane and you're waiting for the minions to hit or whatever, and then for some reason 5 people show up to your lane, like they're trolling or something, they're out to get you. If you have your point in your 1 already, you can't use your backflip to escape. You want to save your point until you need to use it. So if I don't see a point in like if I can't use my 1 on anything yet, I might as well just wait, save the point in case, just in case, worst case scenario, you need the backflip. But majority of the time, you always want to take your 1. Level 2, depending on how it goes, if you think you guys are gonna push up the wave better than your opponents, take a point in your 2. If you think that's not going to be the case, and you're gonna have difficulty with the people you're versing against, take your 3. And when you take your 3, the best way to do it is, the reason why you take your 3 is it does more damage, however it's more setup. So what you would do is, if you're getting pushed back in lane or whatever, you can backflip near your tower, and then when the minions get to the weave, you can detonate it doing more damage. So it would be 180 versus 160. Because it would be your 1 and your 3. What I suggest next is, if you went this route, you can take another point in your 1. If you went the other route, if you went the route where you did your 1 and your 2, I highly suggest at level 3 you should take your 3, unless you are guaranteed for a fact that they are not going to be any sort of threat, in which case take your 1 from a wave clear. At level 4, no matter which way you went, you want to have your 1st, your 2nd, and your 3rd ability. You want to have your escape, you want to be able to heal, and you want to be able to push with your 1. At level 5, majority of the time you want your ultimate. This is where you wouldn't, the only time you really wouldn't is if you were in the soul lane and you wanted to push up faster, because the soul lane is more about wave clearing than than killing potential, but there are a few instances where that's not the case. At level 6, point and spirit arrow. Level 7, point and spirit owl. At level 8, now level 8 is a very unique level in Smite. As you can see right now, I cannot put a point into spirit arrow, even though I'm at 4 out of 5. It does not let me. The only points I can put into at level 8 are my 2 and my 3, my unravel and my backflip. However, I don't want my point there. What I can do is do one or two things. I can either you can use a method called point skipping, where in this method you don't take a point at level 8. At level 8 you save it until you hit level 9, in which case you can get both your spirit arrow and your ultimate. So I can get my 1 and my ultimate. Or if, for example, let's say I fired my ultimate recently, and my ultimate's down at level 8, okay? So, and I just used it, so it's gonna be on like a 90-second, what is it, 90-second cooldown? 90-second cooldown. Instead, if I know I'm not gonna have my ultimate back up, I can take a point in my 2, and at level 9 I can take a point in my 1, and at level 10 my ult will be back up, and I'll put my point in my ultimate. No matter what, level 10 should look like this. 11, you start putting it into unravel. At level 13, same instance as before. If you used your ultimate recently, and it's gonna be on cooldown, you can take another point in your 2. If not, I suggest putting the point into your ultimate. Either one works on Neith. Level 14, this should let you look. 15, you can only put it in the backflip. 16, only backflip. 17, ultimate. 18, 19, backflip. And then 20, ultimate. And that's how you are to level up Neith. Let me sell my items here. So normally how Neith would like to build, it depends on the matchup. Sometimes she will want to go Transcendence first. Transcendence right here. Because you start off with 1,500 health, how it would normally work is she would get Charged Morningstar, and then some potions. Normally 3 of each. However, that's not the only way to build her. However, Transcendence is very useful on her because she is more ability based when it comes to being a hunter. All other hunters, and the majority of the other hunters in the game, there are a few exceptions, want to be doing damage with their auto attacks. Like, specifically auto attack only. Neith can, ability based hunters still want to auto attack, that's how they get some damage out, but they will focus more on their abilities. They will have some sort of way to hit you very hard while clearing a wave. So to say, they focus on poking, while the more auto attack based hunters will focus more on boxing. But wave is still important to any aspect of the game, wave clearing. So Neith, Charge Morningstar, 3 potions each. Let's say for example you're up against you don't really want to rush Transcendence because it's a stacking item. What I would suggest instead is Bluestone Pendant. You can go tier 1 of Morningstar and head Transcendence, or you can start off going Boots, which is always a safe route to me. Like, Boots is the safe route in all opinion. In the majority of any God build, Boots are safe to go. Neith's case, because she is ability based, you want Warrior Tabby over Ninja Tabby. Ninja Tabby is more for auto attack characters, more for boxing characters, while Warrior Tabby is more for ability damage. I'm going to show right now, I'm going to sell this real quick to show her scaling. The best way I could show scaling is to use Morningstar 1, because it's 10 damage. Her scaling on her first ability is 90% because I have 10 physical power and I do 9 ability damage with this. So 9 divided by 10 is 90%. So 90%, 80%. The heal itself is 15% and 3% respectively, as you can see down here. The backflip is 80%, but you don't really use the backflip for damage. And the ultimate is 120% for physical power. Overall, she's a god more designed for building physical power than auto attack, but she still works both ways. Okay, so going back, Bluestone Pendant, Boots, let's say, is your first item. Okay? Second item, normally how it goes depends on how the game is. Normally at this point, I highly suggest Transcendence if you didn't already build it, and vice versa. If I were to go Transcendence first, let's say, if I were to go Transcendence. If I were to go Transcendence first, my second item I would recommend is Boots. The third item, it varies. Sometimes it depends on the matchup. If you're getting auto attacks off a lot more, you can box better. Itchy Ball is good. Silver Branch Bow is fine. It depends if you're going against Magical, Silver Branch Bow is better than Itchy Ball, but Itchy Ball overall is generally better than Silver Branch. What I suggest next is if you are not going crit and you're still going ability based, I wouldn't mind here having either Executioner or Brawlers, because of the fact, again, she is more ability based. So Executioner is an attack speed. Executioner to shreds protections. Itchy Ball wouldn't be bad either. What I would suggest next is if you are going along the Executioner route, Quinn's is very useful because it makes her auto attacks do a lot of damage, and it does do a good amount of power onto her abilities because it's 40 base power here. What I would suggest afterwards is some type of lifesteal. Assy is good. Provides good amount of provides some penetration and provides good lifesteal, and the passive's really good for sustaining for when you get into a pickle and need to lifesteal up. For example, the passive I'll show right now. I'm gonna take some damage. There's the Gold Fury. Because I'm level 1, this is gonna do a lot of damage to me. Come here, buddy. Okay, there we go. So the passive, I'm gonna wait 10 seconds for the passive to come back. But when the passive comes up, it says if you drop below 35% of your health, you get an additional 25% lifesteal. So when I'm hitting it, I'm getting 61 back, 77 on the big minion. And normally it will be 17 or 29. This is very useful late game when you don't want to go Assy early because of the fact it goes off your lifesteal goes off how much power you do. Okay, so it's always better to lifesteal unless it's Dev Gloves where you want to stack the Devil Gloves. It's always better to get lifesteal a little bit later. You want to get damage first. That way the lifesteal actually means something. The last item I would suggest, it depends on how they're going. If they have healers, I suggest Brawler's Basic is a very useful item. Where's Brawler's? Penetration. Brawler's Basic is a very useful item. Titan's Bane might be useful too for penetration. Crusher is sometimes useful too. It's overall up to you for the last item. If you're going crit, which I don't suggest as much in terms of this, I still recommend these two items first because these two are really good on Neith. If you're going crit, Rage first a lot of the time. Rage third item is really useful because you want what Rage does is you get each time you kill an enemy god, you end up with an assist from a god, from killing a god, you end up with a stack. At 5 stacks you gain an additional crit chance. So this already does 20% crit. At 5 stacks you'll get another 15%, 10 because you filled up the 5 stacks, and 1% for each stack you have. So Rage is very useful. Then when you're going crit after Rage, Deathbringer, always I suggest Deathbringer, it's really good, increases your crit damage. So when I crit here, actually I'll sell this real quick. No, sell. And hit, my crits when I come up, 270. With the Deathbringer up, it will do 425. Very useful. What I suggest next, after it, immediately go penetration. You need pen in this build because right now you don't have any penetration. I suggest the last two items being Executioner, Brawlers if they have healing, Executioner Assy, so that way you have lifesteal in the build. Executioner and Crusher, always good. Titan's Bane, I always suggest at least having Executioner majority of the time on her. Sometimes you don't want it, and that specifically, when you're going a quote-unquote physical power build. In this case, you are specifically going off of scaling, which would be Transcendence. How much does this do again? Plus 4 and 75 stack. 0.4. So that'd be 20 power. What I suggest doing is Bloodforge. Obviously boots. Let me get boots back. Bloodforge. Penetration normally. Normally the best penetration item that has pure damage on it. You can switch it up between either Titan's Bane or Brawlers. I suggest Titan's Bane because you have lifesteal now in the build because of Bloodforge. Normally, if you can, both would be useful, though you don't need to have it. Then Shifters for the extra damage, because it gives 70 damage. Even though it says 35, you get an additional 35 when you're above 50% health. So that will be another 70 damage, and then to wrap things up, what I would normally do is Reinforge isn't bad because it includes. Actually, I want to test this. Okay. So Reinforge does not work with your 2. I just found out. So instead, the best third item would probably be either. Going off the top of my head, you probably want another penetration item. So Crusher, Brawlers, Jotuns might not be too bad. Hydras will be pretty useful, even though this isn't penetration, but Hydras is useful because it does an additional damage. So let me do that. So I have Hydra passive up and 411. Normally I do 316. With the Hydra passive up, I do 411. And this is a very good build when it comes to doing a certain amount of damage with your abilities. And then the last build I want to go over is an auto attack build. In this case, you do not go Transcendence. What you do instead is you start off with the Bluestone, you start off with Boots, still Warrior Tabby. Warrior Tabby is always better on her than Ninja Tabby because of her scaling. But Warrior, Ichivo, or Silver Branch Bow respectively, Executioner, Krins, then Hasten for luxury item purposes, and then selling and getting Assy. That's normally how I would suggest doing it. And then late game, sell Ichivo for either Titans or Brawlers, depending on what happened. Or Crusher would probably be better. Overall, that's for items for her. Active-wise, normally Neith, normally hunters want purification beads and Aegis. Sometimes and rarely would you want to go, would you actually want to go sprint or something like that? That's only if you're versing a really weird team comp, but for the most part, beads and Aegis are your 2 best friends. You want beads first, especially if they have cripples, because cripples will stop your backflip if they cripple you, and you need beads to stop the cripple. Other than that, this has been the Neith Guide, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it and found it useful. If you have any information that I did not cover, please let me know in the comment section below.